What's up, everyone? It's your favorite blind girl back on your screen with another one. It's been a minute since I've done a chit chat with you. In fact, now that I think about it, I haven't spoken with you guys about the Rona since it all began. So today I want to check in with you, see how you're doing, how you living in this post-Rona pandemic life. Like, I still can't believe it. I say that almost every day, that I can't believe this is real life. I still think it's a movie. Like, what is this? So today I want to share with you, kind of catch you up on what's been going on with me. I'm trying to think if I can come up with like 10 things that this whole pandemic has provided me. Because life was different before Rona BC. And now that we're living in this post, I don't even know what life we're in. It's been very interesting. So let me know how it's been for you down below, and let's go. The first thing that's been an up and a down about this is that it's been like a pause button that none of us asked for. My gosh, if someone told me that in March I'd be out of both my jobs, I would have celebrated and cried at the same time. In the moment, I thought it was only be 2 weeks, #delusional. Now looking back 5 months later, I'm appreciative because I was burnt out. Like, I was not enjoying my life. It was too much. I don't know how I worked 2-3 jobs and went to school before, but I guess I was just more energetic back then. But I was, whew. So I did not mind having a break. I just didn't realize how long the break would be. Luckily, I'm not stressed because I live in a country where there's assistance and I have savings. Thank God. I can't imagine what it's like for this to just feel like the rug is pulled from underneath you. But overall, it's been good. It's also helped me in a second way to value money differently, because a lot of times I would take jobs or do things or hustle because I felt like I had to keep up with this lifestyle I'm living. Once I realized that, my budget game is A1 and I don't have to spend as much to enjoy my life, it's made it so much easier. Like, going forward, I'm taking this forward. I'm not going to do what I used to do. My closet is full. It's fine. I don't need to buy any more clothes unless, shopaholic talking here, there's a piece I really, really like. But really, where am I going with these clothes? There's nowhere to go. So looking at how I spent money and then seeing it's been a very eye-opening experience. I used to be so stressed, and now looking back, I'm like, why? I've been responsible my whole life. And then you come to this point where it's like, you did everything right. You went to school, you paid off your OSAP. You've always been good with money. You've always been responsible with work. But then we're all in the same boat. Or I like to say we're all in the same sea, but different boats, because I think that's more realistic. I say all that to say, sometimes you're on the hamster wheel, and then moments like these, it makes you kind of ask why. And I had to reevaluate what my goals were prior to this pandemic in order to decide what I really want to take forward. The third thing would be that it's helped me get into gardening, and not gardening, but like my friendship garden. I'm not going to prune necessarily. I'm not cutting people out of my life, because mental health is a real thing. And just because someone has disappeared or has been AWOL doesn't mean they don't care. It might mean that they're going through their own thing, because this is a very isolating time. Physical distancing is real. So I'm not judging people, but I am observing them. And it's so interesting to actually observe people's movements and then be accountable for myself. I've always been that person where I'm accommodating, sometimes too accommodating to people. And going forward, it's not that I don't want to accommodate. I just want to be the right person for the right people. So I'm going to definitely water those friendships more than some others. But I'm also going to be very aware. This has given me a chance to really check in with people and show them that I love and care for them, and see who does the same. Because, life is crazy. And if it wasn't this, it could be anything else. And some people were coming into life on lockdown with so many other things going on, and they need that extra dose of love. So I always keep that in mind. And I've always been thinking about certain people and reaching out to them during this time. Also, it's been so good to get really connected with some amazing people. I feel like some of my friendships are closer than they could ever have been. This has been like the fast forward button for friendships, because we've had time to chat while my friend's been working from home and while I've been YouTubing. I can talk while I'm editing a video, and then we can get into these super esoterical conversations and just vibe. It's so good. I don't know. In one way, it's like I miss the in-person and getting out, which I've been doing more if you've seen my vlogs. But in other ways, it's like This has given me the opportunity to really choose and be picky without being judged about who I spend my time with. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again, because I've been losing vision, this hasn't been the worst thing to happen. Like, this pandemic life hasn't been the worst. I think I've dealt with uncertainty in my life many times before. So having the uncertainty of when I'm going back to work or what life is going to be like, it hasn't really been on my mind too much. I've just tried to stay here in the present and take one step at a time. I think because of that, it's lent me the energy, because it really does take energy to get out of bed and go to the gym regularly or practice yoga and keep a morning routine and create the life I would love if I were a full-time YouTuber. I literally got to live as if I was a YouTuber without the stress for the last couple months, because luckily, as I mentioned, I live in Canada, so we have assistance here. So it's not like I was like, oh my God, I've got to pay rent. No, I have that, and I have savings in case anything happens. So because of that, I've been able to explore. I've been able to try different recipes, even though I hate cooking, and not get outside more, although I have been, but to read books that I take forever to read because I can't see, or, start making jewelry again like I did, and paint and write poetry and try different editing styles and sing at the top of my lungs for no reason. Meanwhile, my neighbors are karaokeing. Can you hear it? It's so cute. Like, it's given me the time to do everything I've said I wanted to do for like the last years that I just hadn't had time or energy for. I think we're on 5 now. I don't know, who's counting? There's getting outside. So when the lockdown first started, there wasn't anywhere to go. And I live in a bachelor, so I'd go on my balcony, and then I started to DIY that to make it like a home outside of my home. And that's been a really good project so far. But I also used to go to High Park and to the waterfront. And even though it was chilly and cold at first, it was really good to get outside and get crisp, fresh air. And especially as it transitioned to spring and I saw the seasons change, it was so beautiful. It's something that I haven't done since I was a child, to just get outside, to take long walks, to be with myself, but be with nature. It's just been, I'll never get this time again, especially when I go back to work, because I really got to make up the money. But to have peace and to enjoy peace in nature has just been something that, I don't know, I think it helps me feel better about myself and where I'm at in my life, because with everything going on in the world, nature is doing just fine without us. And I think that's very symbolic of a lot of things in our lives. Oh, I started a pod. So much fun. I'm loving it. Once upon a time, I used to do the most on YouTube. I had, cooking and baking and nutrition and hair tutorials and just too much stuff. And I like to keep it to Life Legally Blind and a few other things, so at least you know what you're coming to my channel for. On my pod, I just like to talk about anything with the authentic flip to it. I like to keep it real, so whether I'm talking about pop culture or something that came into my head that day, it's just so much fun to talk off the top, to kind of ramble a little bit with you guys. And so far, people have been really enjoying it. If you checked it out, let me know how you like it so far. But I've been talking about starting a pod for 2 years. So it really did take the end of the world for me to start that hobby. I also brushed up on my French, really developed like a lifestyle that I could be happy living, Okay, I did something that I would never advise, but I'm gonna let you know. I tried a water fast. I survived 2 days. I wanted to see what it was like, because someone told me that your body feels different. Like, not just hungry, but like different. And trust me, it feels different. The way my fingertips felt, I was just like, am I in some kind of avatar world? What is going on? I didn't even know brain fog was a thing until it cleared up. And it's crazy how much of your energy is used to digest. I mean, I should know that, but at the same time, when you live it and you're like, oh, I'm actually okay without food. At the end of the second day, when I broke the fast and I ate, it's like my body didn't know what to do. I was not okay. But the second day overall was way better than the first. The first day I went to the kitchen 95 times and I was like, what am I doing here? I can't eat. It was so hard because mentally I was so used to having that routine of making a smoothie, then making a late lunch, then meal prepping. And it's like when you take all of that away, plus not eating, it's like, what do you do with your day? I would never do that while I'm working because it can be a little draining and also tempting if other people are eating around you, but it was kind of cool to try it out and see what my body would do. I also was vegan for a week. I didn't feel that much different after doing it. I thought I'd feel like, ooh, because every vegan I know is always all about it. And when I studied in school, it seemed like a pretty, like, it's a diet that I would never actually like completely do. I mean, never say never, but I understand the benefits of it, but I prefer how I eat personally, just saying. But it was interesting. It wasn't as life-changing as I had hoped. I was vegetarian for the month of April. That was a cool experience because I'm basically a pescatarian that sometimes eats chicken. Don't ask. And it wasn't that hard to cut out, shrimp, seafood, and chicken out of my diet and just work around it. So that one was way more doable for me. Again, I still like the way I eat, so I'm not going to be as restrictive going forward, but it was still cool to try out, and I don't think I would have if I wasn't just at home being like, what should I challenge myself to? This one's for my airy fairies out there. I learned to observe myself and better protect my energy. So sometimes when things are happening to you, you're just in the moment and you just, especially emotional Scorpios over here, it was pretty cool to just like observe and be like, there's no rush to respond to this, that, or the next. Just observe yourself and decide, what do you want to do? So that was cool. Protecting my energy has been always something hard to do because I like to give, but looking at not only who I give my energy to or what I put my attention to, because when you pay attention, you pay, whether you're paying with the like button or you're literally paying or you're paying mind, it's paying all the same way. So it's pretty interesting looking at like, what am I paying attention to? Who am I paying attention to? And then deciding, you know what, this is not for me. This doesn't make me feel good. This is not a high vibe activity. Let me put this down. Let me pick this up, or let me stay still. So that's been a really good experience as well. Of course, there's the dark side of the moon, and I've had maybe about 5 months. I can count 3 days that I was really lonely, but I mean, I live alone, so that was going to happen. So 3 out of 5 months, I think that's a pretty good score count. I mean, we're just living in a world where I like that mental health is becoming more of a conversation because it's always been real. I think the days that I felt the worst is because I've gotten in my head a lot about the expectations that I had for this year and for my life and for myself. But once I realized expectations are only just expectations, I've been able to sit with myself and be better to myself. So even though it's a sad thing, it turned out being a good thing. The last thing that happened to me and happened to you is that we survived. We need to have a celebration because, hello, yo, who would have thought at the beginning of 2020, unless you listened to Lovely Tea, then you might have known, that this would be happening to us. The whole world shut down on top of everything else going on. No matter what part of the planet you were living in, you were going through something similar to somebody else on the other end of the earth. That's crazy. So take a moment to appreciate yourself. Yo, you got through it. Whether you woke up and you did, the workout of your dream and lost all the weight that you were talking about, or whether you did nothing and you just slept in, or whatever, like whatever side of the spectrum you were on, whether you thought you would do so much, whether you didn't do enough, doesn't matter, because this is a crazy time. This is a phase that none of us could have predicted. None of us saw coming. Again, unless you watch Lovely Tea, then you wouldn't have known. She was telling us about this from January though. But overall, like, if you're still breathing, living, and finding reasons to smile, you survived. And I think we forget during these times, especially with social and all those posts about if you didn't do X, Y, and Z, it's not because there's not enough time. It's because you're not disciplined. No, maybe you don't feel like it. Maybe it's just too much. Maybe this is the worst thing that happened to you and you're trying to figure it out. Luckily for me and unluckily for me, because I'm blind, this is like, I've already had the practice of life unknown, uncertainty, being unsure, being anxious. So this is like, I don't want to boost myself, but this is like a walk in the park. Like, I feel like I can go through a lot more now that I've lost vision. I don't know what the hell's going on with my eyes. But if this is the worst, most unstable thing that's happened to you, I get it. So don't be hard on yourself. Don't be like, oh, I should have learned Spanish. I should have saved up to go on a trip once the airports opened. Like, no, just be happy. You survived. This is a crazy time in our lives, and who's to say what the effects are in the faraway future? So I'm saying stay in the present, be grateful, keep it moving. Just don't look back. Don't look with regrets. Don't be like, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, because you didn't, and it's all good. We're here. we're alive, we're breathing. Some people are not as grateful, as fortunate. So I'm gonna leave you on that note. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff to show you care. And until next time, love and later.